everyone. Welcome to the Future You Digital Festival, New Year, new website. Tips to give your business a fresh look and feel with me, Joanne Tapodi. If you're in the chat, do tell me where you guys are from, what you do. I'd love to see some of you guys hop in the chat and have a little bit of chat with me before we kick things off properly, just to give some people time. Hi, Juliana from Los Angeles. Thanks for joining. So yeah, we'll give people about a minute or so to get in, and then I'll do a little intro. Hi, Carla from the Bay Area, Content Market Manager, awesome. Oakland, Memphis, med student. Natalia from Brazil, oh wow. Gee, you guys are from all over. Thanks for saying hi. Pat from Mexico. Awesome. So many of you here, that's amazing. Thanks for joining. From the UK, Isabel, living in Seattle. Tracy from New York. Oh, April working on getting her life coach certifications, fantastic. Canada, Maya from Canada, great. Okay, guys, let's get into it, and I'll start with an introduction. Hi, I'm Jo. I'm a branding expert based in Perth, Western Australia, with over 15 years experience in graphic design. I'm a Squarespace website designer and authorized trainer and circle member. I combine my branding skills and Squarespace knowledge to create Squarespace websites that are brand specific and meaningful. I've designed over 70 Squarespace websites and developed over 100 brand identities for small business owners. I've also trained countless people on managing their own Squarespace websites. And I can't wait to share my website tips to give your business a fresh look and feel for 2021. Okay, guys. Oh, a lawyer from Florida, Jenny. Fantastic. All right. Well, I'm going to start the presentation properly, and we'll get into what we're going to cover today. So today we're going to cover tips, trends, and a Q&A. So with the tips, we're going to have tips to get your website looking on point for 2021. Trends, my forecast of web trends to look out for in 2021. And then we will wrap up with a 5-minute Q&A at the end. So the presentation will run about 25 minutes, and then the Q&A at the end will be about 5 minutes or so. So just be aware that when you're posting Q&As, there's a little Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom panel. So post all your questions in the Q&A there, not in the chat because I might not get to them in the chat. So the Q&A is where it's at. So throughout the presentation, just feel free to put your questions in there as you go. And in the last 5 minutes, I'll get to as many as I possibly can before we finish up. Right, okay, let's get into tips, guys. Website tips. So I'm going to talk about what I call the journey. When your ideal customer visits your website, we want to lead them on a journey through your site. So picture your website as being your house, and those different rooms in your house being the different pages. So you want to obviously welcome them in, and then take them through the different rooms in the house to show them what you're all about. So obviously the first page that most people are going to land on will be your homepage. So I always say keep your homepage simple, because what we want to do here is share a bit about your business or a bit about what you do and who you are, and then give them a little bit of information that they can then take to put them through to other pages on your website. So how we do this is we use call to actions, CTAs, to lead them where you want them to go. So typically we will use a few call to actions on your homepage that lead towards your largest areas of interest. So this could be your services, your online shop, about page, etc. But you don't want to give away too much info on your homepage. You want to give them little bite-sized pieces of information so that it keeps them interested, and it allows them to move over to that next page and continue that journey through your other pages. Then you should be having at least one call to action or more on every page of your website to keep that journey going. So if you were leading people towards your homepage from your to your about page from your homepage, for example, You might want to include a call to action to your services page from your about, or even a call to action to book or contact you or send an inquiry. So it's always a good idea to have some sort of booking or contact CTA towards the end, because some people will be able to make that decision whether they want to work with you or not already from certain areas of the pages, and you don't want to miss that opportunity to give them a call to action to get in touch with you straight away. So the journey will ultimately end at a purchase point or your contact page to book and send an inquiry. So it's really important to have a lot of connection points on your website so that people feel like they're going through the website and learning more about you, more about your business. And it really feels like that whole brand journey becomes quite clear to them so that they can really connect with who you are and what you're about. So talking about connection will lead me into my next tip. Connection. Connecting with your audience in your own unique and authentic way will be what sets you apart from your competitors. So this is super important in especially a digital age as well. People have very little patience when they go onto websites. So you have a very minimal amount of time to connect with your audience, and you have to establish that connection as quickly as possible, but make sure that it's very consistent across the board. So how do we make sure we're achieving this on our websites? So we want to establish brand consistency across all areas. So when I say all areas, I'm not only referring to your website, I'm also referring to your social media. If you're showing up in forums and chatting to people in forums, if you're face-to-face, which hopefully someday we will be face-to-face with people, but we're looking at things like your tone of voice, image content, brand colors, your logos. So when people speak to you directly and when they actually read content on your website or your socials, all of that really needs to have a consistent tone of voice. The type of image content that you're using should be used across the board from your socials to your website, and your brand colors should be consistent as well. So this builds trust in your brand and creates a recognition of who you are and what you are. So people can see that correlation between your brand on your website and your brand on socials and instantly recognize who you are and who your brand is. So you want to nurture your connection with your audience whilst building your audience by sharing informative content through different channels. So again, that's like your website with your socials. So you want to really let people understand that you're an expert in your field. So sharing information with them, free information of all the things that you know, is really going to build that trust factor with your customer base. So we can do this by blogging on your website, setting up a mailing list, sending e-newsletters to your client base and people who have subscribed to your newsletters, and connecting your social media accounts to your website. So I'm going to just hop into my Squarespace site for you guys quickly and show you a couple of ways that Squarespace makes it super easy to integrate your socials and connect with your audience. So firstly, I'm going to just show you my website. So a lot of people have this on their website, but I think it's a great feature to have and incorporate your Instagram feed on your website. So this is my website and my little Instagram feed that I've got here, and this live update. So every time I post something, it will live update to my website here. And it's super easy to put this in. It's literally just linking up your Instagram account and clicking a button, logging in, allowing Squarespace to pull that information from Instagram, and voila, you've got your Instagram block on your website. Now, the great thing about this is that you're creating constant refreshed content on your website so people can see that you're active. They can click on your posts. So here's the one for Future You Digital Festival. They can read this, this post, and it's giving them fresh, up-to-date content available on your website if they haven't looked at your socials as yet. It's a really great way to show portfolio as well. So if you're a photographer or a creative like I am, you can show your portfolio of work that's going to be easy to update for you in one area that then shows up on your website, which is great. I love this feature and I use it on a lot of client websites. Then let's have a look at how easy it is to blog with Squarespace and how easy it is to actually link up your socials. So blogging with Squarespace is just so seamless, and the different types of layouts that you can do with this are really lovely. So this particular template that I'm looking at now, which is called Elmar, has a really nice, simple and clean blog style here. But when we're editing our blogs, I just want to show you this, guys. So we'll go into our settings. But you have the opportunity to share a blog and connect a social media account here. So if I go connect account, it takes me to the connected account areas. Then I can connect account here. And I've got all these different social accounts that I can connect to my blog. So for example, with my particular blog on my website, I've got my Facebook connected and my LinkedIn connected. And again, it's just that simple login process to push information to those two social media streams. And what happens is when I publish a blog on my site, I just have to flick a little switch and it automatically posts that to my Facebook or my LinkedIn as a new fresh content blog. So there's no going back and forth and getting onto Facebook and pasting a URL. It's all really seamless and super simple and easy, and it just saves you a heap of time by doing it that way. So another amazing thing that I love in Squarespace, and I use this very regularly for my own connection to my audience, is Squarespace campaigns or marketing. So Squarespace has email campaigns built straight into the program, which is one of my favorite features of Squarespace. Now, I'll mention this again later, but one of the reasons I absolutely love Squarespace, and this is why I've chosen to work pretty much only in Squarespace for my clients, is that it's a fantastic all-in-one platform. So you can set up your blogs, and if you want to have a mailing list and people subscribing to that mailing list, and then sending them email campaigns, you can do that all from within Squarespace by using their email campaigns feature. So this is a separate subscription that you'd be paying, but it's all within your Squarespace site, which makes it so simple to integrate information like your blogs. If you've got a shop, an online shop, you can easily integrate your products in there. So it's great to collect mailing list people already to your mailing list, which you can do for free. And then once you want to send campaigns, then you got into the subscription. But it keeps everything on brand. It transfers all your logos, and your social media is already connected. And some of the templates, well, all of them actually, are really beautiful. So there's very little that you'd have to change in terms of getting your newsletters to look really on point and on brand for your website. So it's great that you can manage this all in one here. So let's go back to the presentation doc, and we'll get into trends now. Website trends. So web design versus editorial design is my first trend. What we're talking about when we say editorial design is basically like magazine design. And I actually have a background in editorial design. I used to work at a publishing company, and we used to design. I was the creative director of many of the magazines there. So I have a lot of experience with that, as well as web and branding. So this is something that's really exciting for me to see come into the trends for this year. And it's something that's been already prevalent a little bit in 2020, but I see this becoming really more widely used amongst website design in 2021. So viewing of a website on desktop versus mobile is still sitting around 50-50. So 50% of people will view your website on desktop and 50% on mobile at this point. So those aren't the exact numbers, but it's very close sort of to those numbers. Meaning we will cater for both types of viewers when we're designing our websites. So we're never going to design everything towards a desktop version or everything towards a mobile. You really need to consider both those userships and viewers when you're designing your website. So in terms of design for desktop, web page layouts are moving more towards an editorial look and feel to engage visitors. So this means a lot of white space. And when I say white space, it's a little bit of a design jargon there. But white space doesn't have to literally be the color white. We're talking about more the space between elements. So the space between elements and positioning of your content blocks in different ways to create unique layouts. So don't be afraid to experiment and create lots of space on the web page, whilst also being mindful of how the design will translate from desktop to mobile. So if I share again my Squarespace site, let's have a look at the Squarespace templates and see how they're using this type of design already within the templates that you can get and get that inbuilt already. So I'm in the Squarespace templates section on their website. And as we scroll through these, we can see that they are using that space between elements. Like look over here on the Nolan one, we've got some really nice breathing room between the main header there and then the first headline. If we browse down a little bit more, here to the null template, we've got that really nice space around that first quote there. And Pulaski also has some really big space happening between that first point. So there is already a lot of this design coming through within the templates from Squarespace. We can see it in Stanton here and Amal, how they've created a lot of space between the different blocks of text. And I love how this image on the Stanton template has that text centered to it. And you've got that really nice feeling of space above and below that image. It just creates a lot of more of a fresh feeling, and it gets rid of that crowding of elements. So instead of having things feel too busy and crowded, we're getting a really nice airy feel when we scroll through a website. So if we look at my Elmar template over here, we've got also some really nice big text happening, which is great for in terms of headlines, which we see a lot of in editorial design, where we really want to draw people's attention with typography and font use. So that's also another feature of that editorial design coming through. And having a look at this pull quote, we've got so much white space here, but it just really feels so fresh and light whilst you're scrolling through it. And what I was saying before about mobile versus desktop, in Squarespace, you can toggle this little button over here for mobile, and it will show you the mobile preview. And what I love about Squarespace, as you can see, is that it automatically shuffles everything for you. So there's no need for you to consider having to change everything for mobile. It instinctively already puts everything where it should be. But you do need to remember to flick constantly between these two so you can see that everything is looking as it should and how you intend it to look. So really make sure that you do go between both so that you can see that things are appearing in the right order and you're happy with overlap text on images and stuff like that. But it's a really great instinctive setup that it does have, that you don't have to fully design for mobile. It's an instinctive thing that Squarespace already does for you in the background. Okay, so another thing I want to show you as well in the editorial design, obviously when you're picking your templates, you're going to be looking at something that is going to suit what your brand is about, maybe similar colors, or if it's got a shop, or it's an online blog or podcast orientated template, you might be looking at that as a starting point. But every single template in Squarespace is universal. So anything that you can see in all of the templates is completely possible to achieve across every single one. But what's amazing, and like this is one of my favorite features of Squarespace, is when you want to add a new page, if you just click here and go page layouts, Squarespace gives you all these awesome page layouts that are already set up for you. And here we can see that white space again, space between elements, breathing room. And you can pick from a whole bunch of different types of layouts. So you can pick a contact page if you want to have a contact on your page, or you can have a team page if you've got a couple of team members working in your business. And you can use these as a starting point to create your pages. So you don't have to start from scratch. And I love this because the design is already so expertly created with this beautiful white space and that sort of editorial feel that there's really not much you need to change. It'd just be sort of as easy as swapping out your images and your text. And it already does it for you as in terms of this layout that you can use and just put in your own content. But bearing in mind as well that every time you select one of these, it's not set in stone. So if you select this one here, it doesn't mean that you have to keep it like this. You can still change things and customize things on the page as you would like and move things around. So it just gives you a great starting point to work from. And you can also do that within your page sections as well. So if I edit this page here and I wanted to add in a new section between this beautiful full bleed image and this purple block here, if I press this plus button, it then gives me a beautiful range of even more types of sections that I can add in here. So like sections with images, galleries, there's such a big long list here, newsletter section. So it just makes it so simple to create a layout that's still going to be personalized to you, because all your information is going to be personalized. Your images will be, your fonts and your colors, and you can customize these as you wish. So Squarespace from a design perspective, and like that's where I started as a designer, brand designer, editorial designer, really just hits the mark for me when I'm going to design a website. So back into our documents where we'll hit onto the next trend. Bold colors. So I see a trend taking shape of brands becoming more adventurous with using bold colors. So for the last few years, minimal, Scandi style with lots of white and monotone hues has been on trend, as well as pastel pinks and earthy tones. But I predict we will see a lot of websites using darker backgrounds for their websites. And I say to you, don't be afraid to use color in expressive ways that will suit your brand personality. So I see a lot of people going against the grain of the trend of the pastel pinks and earthy tones and really starting to use some bright, bold colors in their branding. And of course, when you do this, it needs to be authentic to your brand. So if you are a bright and bold personality and you're a service-based business and your personality is very linked to how people perceive your brand and you and your brand personality, then bold colors might be that links those two together and creates that further connection and is going to connect you with your ideal market. So do remember, if bold colors are part of who you are, then don't be afraid to use them, because you don't want to sort of buck the trend on the pinks, the pastels, or the light colors. So if I go back into my Squarespace site and we'll have a look again at the templates, you would have noticed when we scrolled through these as well that there are quite a few white backgrounds here, but we do have a couple of the templates that are using color, like Amal, even though that's a lighter color, that's a full color background as opposed to using a lot of white. Barbosa having that charcoal gray background, which really makes the thick, bold type pop with the images. And then we've also got here Carmine, like bright yellow. How much does this stand out and how energetic does it feel having that bright yellow at that background there? Something a little bit different and unique. And then of course, we've also got the Nolan one that we looked at before, which had the black background. I'm going to go into one of my favorite layouts for blogs and podcasts section over here and flick down to Merida. So Merida is one of my favorite templates. So we'll just preview this one quickly. And again, like the preview has that different view from desktop to mobile. So you can flick through and see how this translates on different devices. But Merida has that black background and it just makes these images really rich and bright against that black background. But they are breaking it up in this template with a beautiful full bleed lighter image So that's something to remember as well, to create highs and lows in your design, because then it draws the eye and draws attention to certain areas that you want people to really look at. And it creates some diversity in your layout, which is really beautiful for breaking things up and keeping people interested. But as I said before, this is a blog podcast layout. So here is the blog portion of this page, and I just love how this is laid out. Again, we've got these beautiful big headlines, sort of catering towards that editorial feel again. And the pictures are not exactly lined up. Everything's out of alignment, but it creates a real interest in how you look between each blog post and how you're taking in that information. So I really love how the black background makes things stand out. And I like using brighter colors as well to achieve that through different sections. So I'm just going to take you back into my Squarespace template here, and we're going to actually look at how you can integrate color into your Squarespace site, which is fantastic in 7.1. I keep saying this is one of my favorite things. I'm just totally stoked about anything that Squarespace does. I'm obviously a huge fan of them. But the color palette and the way that we can integrate colors into Squarespace 7.1 is really, I think, a game changer for people creating their website and getting that on-brand color palette going. So with Squarespace color palette here, you can edit your colors and add in your brand colors. So if you've got brand specific colors and hex codes for those, you can add them in here and it will pop those colors in there. And there's also different, they give you a bit of a guide on how the different colors can appear. So if I roll over here, they're suggesting that we use a dark color here. They're suggesting a light one here, an accent color here. So the accent color could be a dark color, or it could be one of your brighter colors that you're using in your branding. And then we also have the black and the white as well. So usually black and white, I'd remain or keep that as is, and then just change these three branding colors here. But the great thing about this is you can have a look at designer palettes if you're not too sure of what your color situation is going to look like on your website, and you can test these palettes. So if I just select that, we can see everything changes automatically to show us what this brand palette is going to look like. And it means that you don't have to go through every single thing and pick a different color. As long as you've got these three colors sorted, Squarespace will automatically implement those colors across the different color themes for you, which I absolutely love. Another thing you can do is if you go into the edit and click from image, you can upload an image in here and it will pick out the colors from that image. So if you've got a beautiful image of a coral beach, turquoise beach scene, and you really want those blues in there, you can upload that image and it will pick those colors out for you. Alternatively, you could do that with your logo. If you don't have your brand colors, like the hex codes and that for your brand colors, you could pop your logo in here and Squarespace will instinctively pick out the colors as close to a match as possible. And then you can also customize or go from color. And if I click that, we can select one color. So if we went to sort of maybe a green spectrum and picked like a darker green, and it would show us some complementary monochrome, different types of color matches that you can select here. So if your brand guideline perhaps only has one really prevalent color, you can put that color in here and it will give you a couple of colors to match up with that as well. And never fear, if you don't want to do any of these color matches, you can just click all your little back buttons or completely cancel here and discard your changes. So I'll just quickly show you the section themes as well. So section themes is where Squarespace has automatically created these different color background themes that you can use. And if you click in here, you can customize your colors. So if you're not really loving this sort of pale color for this block here, you can click into your accent dark. So if we scroll here, we can see that this is actually the color theme, and you can customize that. So again, Everything is set up for you for ease of use, but if you need to customize anything, you can do that by clicking in here and customizing this particular headline. So Squarespace just makes everything so simple for you, which is something that I find is really good for people who are DIYing their sites as well. All right, so back into my document, and I'm going to share my last website trend. So this one might come as no surprise to you guys because it's really a trend that has been surfaced in 2020. So running any business online. The shift towards businesses boosting their offering online in light of our friend, the global pandemic COVID, will see an even larger focus on online shopping, online courses, workshop content creation in 2021, particularly for businesses that are service-based and are used to communicating with customers face-to-face. So in the past, service-based businesses would have had a website anyway because you still want to get your inquiries through. You want to have a web presence so people can learn more about your business and you can do that connection to your audience. But in this day and age now, and we've seen this big shift already from 2020, but it's going to get even bigger in 2021, where service-based businesses are going to pivot their offerings or create new offerings that can allow their businesses to grow in an online space. So how can we use our websites to sell? Some of these are obvious. So obviously setting up an online shop. If you're a product business, you'd already be doing something like this. Booking appointments online, and then also creating online content for members. But why I mention all these three here is that these are pretty much your top ways you're going to sell to customers or get customers to book things with you. And all three of these things are possible on Squarespace. What I mentioned before about email campaigns, having Squarespace be that great all-in-one platform. This is what we're seeing with things like setting up your business to run online and get customers online as well. Because with a Squarespace site, you can set an online shop up. You can have subscriptions for products that you're sending out on a monthly basis. With booking appointments online, there's Squarespace scheduling. So you can create a scheduling block on your website where you can book appointments from customers directly from your website and also accept payment and have that calendar feature already inbuilt in your website so you can see everything from your Squarespace platform, but you can also export that to your favorite calendar apps. And then the new one, which I'm super excited about still, is creating online content for members. So Squarespace recently released member areas, which is simply put a place where you can sell memberships to your customers on your website and have gated content on your website. So for me, I run an e-course that I'm shifting to the member area, and that means people can log in, create their own profiles, their own passwords, purchase the e-course and do it in their own time on their website. So just quickly going to show you what that is. You may have seen it when we were looking at our pages, but this is probably, because it's one of the newest features, this is probably the one that I'm most excited about at the moment. But here's member areas in your pages. So you just need to activate this in your settings and then it will appear in your pages area here. This is a subscription-based thing, so you will need to pay an additional subscription to add this to your website functionality. But it's as simple as just dragging pages of the content that you need in this course here. So you can create your entire course to be completely on brand to your website and have all your colors there and then input all the information. So for example, if you're a yoga instructor and you have yoga classes that you want customers to have access to on a monthly basis, you can set up a member area for that. That is either consistent subscription payment, a one-off payment, or even free. So you can give customers free content, but they'd have to create their own profile and they can access that free content themselves. So another amazing way that Squarespace can create this all-in-one place where you can email your clients, connect with them, set up your blogs, get that social media connected so that it's seamless through posting a blog to your socials, sell stuff online, have a members area, Sell appointments. If you want a Zoom consult appointment, you can schedule that in with your customers. So yeah, I just absolutely love how everything is just so seamless and easy to use within the platform. So it allows you to do multiple things with your business within the one platform. Okay, guys, I've run a tiny bit over time, but I am going to have a quick look at your questions now, because now we're in Q&A time. Okay. Isabel, with email campaigns, will you also need software like MailChimp or not needed with Squarespace? So with email campaigns with Squarespace, you don't need MailChimp. So Squarespace email campaigns is basically Squarespace's answer to MailChimp. So that means you don't have to link in another third party. You can keep it all in the program. So no need to even worry about MailChimp. And quite honestly, like I find the templates on MailChimp, like I 100% use Squarespace campaigns with my website integrated. Okay. So Jen, is there a template that showcases portfolios well? So yeah, there is I'll just show my templates here and go back, but there is a section at the top here where you can browse by popular designs, and you might want to actually look at the portfolio specific ones. So there's all types of different templates that are geared towards different businesses. So if you were a restaurant, you might consider looking at the restaurant templates. There's like real estate and properties. There's quite a few different templates that cater towards different types of businesses. So I would recommend portfolios or photography potentially for that one. Okay. So Dior asks, are all the features you presented, color, page layout, part of the new Squarespace version? Yes. So I have been, we've been looking at Squarespace 7.1. These are also all the templates for version 7.1. So if you're on 7, the way that the operating system works is a little bit different. So the colors, that way that you create the colors, that is specific to 7.1. But stuff like email campaigns, Squarespace scheduling, an online shop, member areas, all of those things are available within both version 7 and 7.1. So it's just the design features that are mostly the big difference between the two. Or features. Okay. So Christine, I do have a Squarespace website and I have the Instagram blog on my bio page, but somehow it stopped updating a few months ago. Any idea why? Okay, so this is a known issue, but it's not only with Squarespace. There is an easy workaround. It just means you have to log back in and connect your Instagram. But once you've done that, I find that it works quite well, but you just need to re-authenticate it. So just go into your connected accounts and re-authenticate your Instagram blog. Okay, Nikki, do you recommend creating a site yourself or working with a pro to get it set up and manage it yourself after? I guess that really does depend on whether you want to spend the time to create that site and learn the platform, and how much time you have to give to it. So Squarespace makes it really easy for you to create something yourself that's still going to look beautiful and work. So you could consider maybe trying yourself first and seeing how you feel about it, or you could get a professional to build it for you. But yeah, I think maybe start a trial and give it a go and see what you think. Could you suggest a font that is timeless? Okay, so when we're looking at timeless fonts, you want to look mostly at serif style fonts. And I will go into my template and quickly show you the font selection in 7.1. So if you're looking for something that's timeless, and we go into your font pack here and we sort of browse the font packs, see how we've got sans serif, serif, and mixed. So serif are typically known as timeless classic type fonts. So if you're wanting to really create that timeless classic look, you'd be looking at your serif style fonts. And you might also consider using mixed, which is a mix of sans serif and serif. So usually sans serif gears to more more towards the contemporary modern style, and serif is more towards the timeless classic style of font. Okay, guys. I think I'm going to answer one more question here. Let's see. Oh, I've answered that. Just browsing through the questions, guys. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to wrap things up here. But yeah, I do have an Instagram, which you would have seen on the Create and Cultivate site for the event, but I do share a lot of information about Squarespace through there. So if you're interested in following me, it's at Joanne Tapodi Creative. And I often do post stuff about new things happening in Squarespace. And I am a Squarespace expert, so obviously I work completely with Squarespace, but also I talk about branding stuff as well. So thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I've had a great time with you guys, and I had so much information I wanted to share. So thanks for sticking around a little overtime with me. But yeah, luckily I was the last person on today, so I'm not messing up with anybody's time schedules. But it was so great to chat with you guys in the chat and answer your questions. And thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you guys enjoyed the entire festival, some amazing speakers there. So have a great Saturday evening if you're based in the US. Myself, my Sunday is starting now. It's 9:30 a.m. for me on a Sunday. So yeah, guys, I'll catch you hopefully in the Slack. I'll pop in and have a look what's going on there if I have time. But thanks for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day.